Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. It has been difficult. I'm doing all kinds of things at the same time, but we're going to be working at it, folks. We're going to be working at it. Oh, it's rough getting all this stuff together with all that's going on right now, but we're going to have a ball today. Welcome aboard, Eric Hayes from Kingwood at Atascocita, Patrick Magner, my brother from the morning show as well. Thank you for being here, brother Patrick Magner. He says, Bridge, I sent EW about 10 sources yesterday collaborating our conversation. I didn't see that email yet, but again, I got several thousand emails a day. I get it, the machine get it down to about several hundred, and then I have to go through them. So I'll be looking for yours, Patrick. All right, we also have Lee Grant from Montgomery County in the house. We also have Michael Rudnick from Brooklyn, New York in the house. We also have Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York in the house. We have Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia in the house. You know, I love having all my peeps around here to get started, the regulars and then the irregulars that come in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out. But anyhow, we're going to have a good time. Let me tell you something, folks. Today's show, I have the Obama speech that I got down from 45 minutes to 29 minutes. I don't know if I'm going to play it yet because, again, but it was a damn good speech. And when you cut it down, you really get the whole essence, right? I mean, I didn't get rid of any of his words, just the clapping and the spaces. And I got it from 45 minutes to 29 minutes. It's at my website if anybody wants to have it. If we were to have 29 minutes of time by the end of the show, I would do it. I doubt we're going to have that. But I have that. But I have a special piece from brother Robert Reich. I've interviewed Robert Reich a couple of times, but this is one of the things that he's doing with his stuff that he used to do at the university. I'm going to play that for us because what I want to talk about is the three economic system that we have and why Donald Trump has been so successful within the media to not really scrutinize what he does. I'm going to tie that all together after we get through the preliminaries, after I take care of you first with what you have written on the screen. So starting the show, let me see if I got to salute anybody else first before that has entered since. I don't see anybody who has entered since. All right. Somebody says, Egberto, do you remember me? No, I don't remember you. No, I don't remember you. Okay, let's go. Egberto, this is from Michael Rudnin. Egberto, I'm stuck with too much information on this one. For as I read, some kind of failed terror plot that got caught by the FBI actually doing their jobs right for once, as one terrorist got alongside hundreds of thousands of friendlies. Do you know what happened in Oklahoma recently? The Oklahoma terrorism arrest in OKC, Oklahoma City, sparks misinformation scrutiny over Afghanistan refugee program. The arrest of Nasser Ahmad Taweldi this week on terrorism charge has drawn scrutiny from politicians critical of the Afghan refugee process that apparently allowed him to enter the United States and live in Oklahoma City. According to charging documents, Taweldi was granted a special immigrant visa to enter the United States in September 2021, just weeks after the repressive Taliban regime stormed Kabul and retook control of Afghanistan. More than 100,000 Afghans have come to the United States over the past 3 years. This appears to be the only instance where an Afghan refugee was arrested on suspicion of planning a terrorist attack, and federal officials believe this. I heard about it. I hadn't gone into detail about it. Let me say something. Our biggest terrorist concern right now has little to do with Afghanis or Iraqis or Iranians or anybody trying to come into our country and do something, really. Our main concern right now is our ultra right-wing folk, our Christian nationalists. Those are the people who have the power to do us harm. And let me tell you why. The people that are going to, the people that, like the Afghanis and so forth, guess what? They're under surveillance. And not only that, everybody's watching what they do. If I go into a store, I am watched. If my brother Patrick Magna go into a store, if he wanted to be a terrorist, he could. Let's be clear here. The people, we're barking up the wrong tree. Terrorism in our election isn't going to come from Afghan or Iranians or Iraqis or whatever. Maybe a one-off or something would occur. Our biggest problems are those terrorists that attacked on January 6th, and people like them. And by the way, they're not all the crazy vest wearing MAGA ultra white nationalists at all. There are some of them in suits and ties. A lot of those folks that went over there to invade the Capitol were business owners. Not a very well told story, but it's the case. So, Mike, you can take a look at the story, but don't give it too much. Don't give it too much consideration. And the right wing will try to make it look like, look, the immigrants are coming into our country and they're going to be terrorists or they're going to do this. The people that kill the most in a terroristic fashion in the United States, removing October 11, which was well planned, which Bush botched because he didn't read his daily reports that says these guys were going to use airplanes to attack us. We have to look inside our own. That report came out from Obama days, and it's been happening since. You want to stop the violence? Start getting rid of, start doing the security checks, or rather the background checks. Stop selling weapons of war, because it's these internal white supremacists who use these weapons of war to kill more Americans than anybody else, to maim more Americans than anybody else, to shoot up more schools than anybody else. Okay, continuing. Let's see. Michael says, figure Egberto will have 2 clips specifically for us considering the intro. Yeah, I got 2 clips. I don't know if I'm going to do the Obama one, because actually what I want to do, I got Obama's reel down to 29 minutes, but I now want to take those 29 minutes and chop out 4 clips out of it that were super great in the Obama speech. So I'll do that, and I'll probably have that on Monday. I can't have that today. Again, like I said, I was under the gun today, man. I was really under the gun. All right, Patrick Magno says, Breach. Oh, I read that one already. I'll look for that, Patrick. I promise you that I'll look for that. Breach says, awesome, Patrick. That was a great call. Hope you heard me say some things to your point. And guess what? I hadn't yet, but I'm glad that you said that was a great call, Breach, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that out of yesterday's segment, like I do with other great calls, and turn it into its own blog. It's going to be the Patrick Magner. That segment is going to be that I'm going to take out, because I really love that discussion as well. That was something I learned. All right. Michael Rodden says, Eric doesn't understand that the President Biden has been doing infrastructure investment the whole damn time he was in office. Eric will never see this map of progress. Let me see. Is it something I can put on the screen? Let's see if it's something I can put on the screen. I'm trying to pull it up right now, sir. Anyway, while it pulls up, let's see. Lizard Queen, good afternoon, Houston. Hello, Lizard Queen. How are you doing this afternoon? Let's see. Mike Cisak is in the house. He said, Eric Hayes, they even brought out the rapist Bill Clinton. I've got to laugh. Bill Clinton was a lover boy. I'm not condoning anything that he does. The rapist is actually Donald Trump. I think you have your presidents wrong. All right. Michael says, Egberto, if you don't know, it's fine. I'm just trying to get my head straight about the incident. Too much social media misinformation. No. I know the story. I just didn't pay much attention to it because I knew exactly where it was going. And what I'm saying is, what's going to happen is anytime they can tie a little to it, they're going to do it. And that's what they're attempting. Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain is in the house. Hi, Melanie Keelan. I hope the temperature is getting better in Barcelona. All right. Patrick says, aggressive poll watchers are terrorists to me. You're absolutely right. Lee Grant, no anti-white racism, please. Brother Grant, you know better than that. Come on now. There is not one person in this chat, not one person that's a part of the PDR posse that is anti-white. Let's actually get things clear. Most of the people in the PDR posse are white, both white conservatives and white progressives and white middle of the road and white everybody else. One of the things that I do is I bring all folks together. So my posse has white, black, Latino, indigenous, Asian, everything. Because the PDR posse looks like America. Okay, let's be clear there. The PDR posse looks like America, and nobody in the PDR posse that from all the ones that I do know, the several hundred that I do know, are anything about white, racist, or anything like that. Now we have a few that are people of color, racist in the chat right now. Some of them don't quite realize they are, but again, we do have a few racists in the chat. All right. But I love them anyway, because that's how we solve problems, right? We don't just say you're racist, I'll never talk to you again. I say you're racist, let me give you a hug. Maybe I can teach you a few things. All right. Patrick says it has nothing to do with fraud. There is no there there. What are we talking about, Patrick? Let's see. Patrick Magner says, are you saying that you'd rather the massive vote? Oh, God. All right, let's forget that. Patrick, you didn't even need to answer that, brother. You didn't even need to answer that. All right, what else we got here? Mike Cisak says, Patrick Magner, is that the case? Then you should not worry about poll watchers. No, we only worry about poll watchers because they're crazy racist. That's why every poll watcher that I've found here in Texas thus far, what they've done is profile anybody that wasn't white. You know, that's all they did. And they come up to you and try to talk. But when they try to come to me, I give a certain eye, and I look at them, and they know not to F with me, right? Patrick says, I'm white, and the reason I follow EW is he and I see the world very similarly. Absolutely so. He's my brother he's another brother from another mother that listens to Politics Done Right at KPFT, and always he's a daily caller that always has something important to say. Hey, I don't know. I have some tiny ants that I've never seen on my table, and there's no food. Anyway, all right, folks, this is what we want to start with. Okay, I want to start here. I hope it works. Let's see. Egberto, that's a racist statement, assuming that white people are thinking. No, I am looking at Mike Cisak, brother. Behavior. If I'm walking in the store, let me just, folks, and let me do this because I want my white people to hear this. All right, I want them to hear this because Mike Cisak say I am judging what's in that person's mind. Okay, if me and my brother Patrick Magner walks into a store, similarly dressed, okay, and there are two salespeople in that place, and I am walking down an aisle, and Patrick is walking down an aisle, and that salesperson continues to shadow me. That salesperson is executing a racist act because they are profiling me for absolutely no reason. And let me tell you how stupid that is. And I don't like to use that word often, but there are now gangs that what they do is they are, because like I said, race is a stupid thing. So when you have all these LA gangs and all of that I'm talking about, these multicultural gangs, they work together as a business, right? Hey, we love each other and we can use our pigmentation as magic. They just go into a store with different ethnic groups going into the store. And while they're following the different ethnic groups, the white folks are in there stealing their brains out, stealing all the clothes or whatever because nobody's watching them. That's how silly profiling and racism is. Okay? That's how silly it is. But they do it all the time. So now people are just using now there are gangs in DC and LA that's a profile they use now. They go into a place, they're a combination of cultures, not cultures, pigmentations. And while the people use their racist belief to follow them, they go rip the store off. Very standard modus operandi today. And that is because racism is a stupid thing. All right, let's continue. I hope I get this stuff working today because, I didn't have the time to test it out. But let me, I am going to try to get it. I think I know how to get it working again. So bear with me, my brothers and sisters. I think I know how to get it. Yep, it's going to work. It's got to work. It's going to work. Okay. To the title of today's show is we have 3 economic systems in this country that are working concurrently. 3 economic systems that are working concurrently. And Donald Trump represents one of them. The one that's a parasite. But first I saw this TikTok by Robert Reich, and I loved it because in this 1 3-minute TikTok, Robert Reich tells a very important truth. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play Robert Reich, and then I'm going to go into the narrative, my own soliloquy about the 3 economic systems. Okay, so here we go.
Trump's entire candidacy is based on a lie.
I'm really a good businessman. I'm so good at business. Oh.
Not true. Trump is a business failure. Almost every business he's touched, he's driven into the ground.
When it comes to great steaks, I've just raised the stakes. Trump steaks are the world's greatest steaks, and the Sharper Image is the only store where you can buy them.
According to Sharper Image's then CEO, they literally sold almost no steaks.
Trump had a failed board game.
My new game is Trump, the game. Trump, the game, because it's not whether you win or lose, it's whether you win.
A failed bicycle race called Tour de Trump. A failed football team.
It's going to stay strong. It's going to stay strong for a long time.
Trump decided it was a good idea to start a mortgage company in 2006.
It's a great time to start a mortgage company.
That failed in less than 2 years. Let's see, what else was there?
Whatever happened to Trump Airlines?
Oh, that was a good one. One of his planes had a crash landing within the first 2 months, which he insisted was the most beautiful landing you've ever seen. The business failed within 3 years.
How about Trump University?
Failed.
And then there's Trump Magazine.
Failed.
Trump Vodka.
Failed.
Trump Travel, Trump Ice, Trump Network.
Failed, failed, failure. Trump has even managed to bankrupt multiple casinos. How do you lose money running a casino? There's an old joke that the easiest way to make a small fortune is to start with a large one. And that's exactly what Trump did. Multiple analyses show that if Trump had simply invested his multi-million-dollar inheritance in an index fund and didn't touch it, he'd be a lot richer than he is now. Now think about that. His entire life's work has been less successful than if he'd done nothing. And when he was president, Trump ran the country like he ran his failed businesses. He added $8.4 trillion to the national debt, largely through his tax cuts for the rich and big corporations. Trump has managed to survive every one of his business failures by leaving other people on the hook, leaving workers unpaid, shafting his investors. The whole idea that Trump is good at business was a carefully crafted illusion, concocted for a reality TV show. And like a lot of reality TV shows, we've come to learn it was all show and no reality. The only business Trump has been successful at is conning people. Now he's trying to do it again. Don't fall for it.
Since I'm using their stuff, I want to leave that on exactly to make sure that they get that. Okay, look, the reason I wanted to show that, right? First of all, when you have remember, there are voters out there that say the reason they disregard why they are willing to vote for Trump is that they're going to forget his immorality. They're going to forget that he sexually abuses women. They're going to forget that he rips people off with Trump University. They're going to forget that he leave his employees unpaid. They're going to forget about all these things because he is a good businessman and he knows how to make money. The important thing, there are two important things that we got to get out of what Robert Reich just said. Robert Reich pointed out that if Trump invested in nothing and just took his inheritance and put it into a fund, an index fund, he would have had more money today than with all the failed businesses in which he lost his money and other people's money. That's number one. Number two is that for those who are voting for him because they think he's a businessman and a good one at that, there is the evidence that every business this guy has ever invested in has been a failure. But because he has a daddy that gave him money and had a name, and because he also created a persona with "you're fired," people could use his branding and create a facade above the branding. What Robert Reich also showed us, even when he became president, the con continued. Not only with trying to use his popularity with MAGA to rip them off with cheap shoes, with the Trump Bible that was made in China, with the clock and the cards that have no value, but his sycophants are out there just buying it up, spending their money to support this billionaire that said he wasn't going to take any money for the campaign. But you're voting for him under the pretext that he's a good businessman and that the presidency was better under him. I'm so sorry I didn't have the time to point out what Obama said in his clip right away. I'm going to have it ready on Monday. But Obama reminded the audience yesterday that Trump didn't have a good economy. The part of Trump's good economy was a continuation of the Obama economy. 75 continuous months of job growth just continued under Trump. And what did Trump do? The only thing fiscally that he did, one, cut taxes for the wealthy and a temporary tax cut for the middle class, and two, executed tariffs that increased the cost, inflation, on many products bought by the middle class. Now, these are the things that are verifiable. Anybody who wants to look it up can find it. It's not the theory and the propaganda that you'll see from brother Mike Cisak and Eric Hayes trying to create a false reality. So what we gave you there was reality. Donald Trump is an economic failure. Okay, that's it. Now, one of the title of the show today was that we have three economic systems, and one of them is parasitic. All right? And let me explain what the three economic systems in America are. America is a capitalist society, which is a parasite portion of our society. We also have the free enterprise portion of our society, which is the one where innovation occurs. And we also have the social, meaning the socialized portion of our economy, which is the one also where innovation occurs and where we support people who need support and where we are now attempting to provide these kinds of education. So let's talk a little bit about it. The first one I'm going to talk about is the free enterprise portion of our society. Somebody who owns a bakery, somebody who owns a golf store, somebody who owns an apartment building, somebody who owns a grocery store. They saved up, they went to a bank, the bank loaned them money at an interest rate that they're going to pay back, etc. They are legitimate business people that out of the work and the labor they produce, they're providing a service. That apartment building owner is making sure people have a place to live. They're making sure that the plumbing works. They're making sure all these good things happen. They pay their taxes as they should. And for paying their taxes, the streets in front of their apartment buildings are fine. The socialist portion of our economy makes sure those streets are. Oh, let me go first. The other part of our economy is the socialist part of our economy, and that is a part that includes the firefighters, the police officers, and the Medicare and Social Security, and the ones that fund universities, and the one that funds research at universities, and all of that. So we also have, again, so I'm talking about the socialist portion and the free enterprise portion. We also have somebody like, let's say myself, okay? I created a company, Willies Computer Software Company. Anybody wants to see what free enterprise looks like? Just look it up. It has my website is still up. I created a software product. I designed it. I wrote it all up. I went ahead and I sold it to different companies, to Boeing, and all of these guys used it in their communication equipment, etc. That I innovated a technology on serial communication when that was the standard form of inter-machine communications, to do something that couldn't be done with the Microsoft 8250 chip that I was able to get it to do using software. That was my innovation. I did very well with that innovation. It was an innovation, free enterprise. I came up with it. I sold it. I made money off of it. I used it to buy my home, my cars, put my daughter through school, etc. That's free enterprise. So we have free enterprise and we have socialism. Now, here is the part that I talk about, the parasite portion now. The parasite portion is called capitalism. Capitalism looks at the innovation that the socialist part created in universities, and it looks at the innovation created in the free enterprise portion and says, wow, you invented that box. I'll give you $10 million for that box that you invented. I'll own all the rights to it. I'll form a corporation with it. I'll chop that corporation into a bunch of pieces, and I'll sell it to a whole lot of people who have capital. And when we make a ton of the products that you created, all these other people will make dividends and capital appreciation off of your invention, that innovation in the free enterprise system created. The same applies to universities. A university gets a grant from the government, we the people, the socialist portion of our government, and goes ahead and invents a drug. It invents a chemical. And as soon as it looks like that chemical is going to work, capitalism comes in and say, hey, we will buy that building at the university. We'll name that building after the professor, and we give us a patent for that. And after you give us the patent for that, you're out of the equation. We gave you a bunch of money. We gave you a building and all of that. Now we take that patent and we hire our own scientists and everything, and they clean it up, test it out, etc., etc., etc. They like to claim that they invest a lot of money in research and development. That's hooey. It's not true. All right. And then we turn it into a product, and then we chop that company up again, sell stocks. A lot of people who've done no work, nothing, they start to make money off of that innovation created by the socialist portion, that's the universities, and the free enterprise portion, that's whichever person that innovated something in their own laboratory in the back of their home or something. And then the capitalists come in and they do and make a whole lot of money with it in perpetuity. It is like how Michael Jackson made some music, and Michael Jackson had his music with his family, and they sold his library to Sony, and now Sony will forever, anytime you hear beat it, the Jackson family gets nothing. That corporations for millennia will be making well, they can't do it for millennia because copyright has a deadline, right? I think it's 99 years or something like that. But who knows? They may get a judge to pass a law to extend the patent, with the copyright, like they do patents on drugs. So again, there are three economies. It's important. And so when you hear somebody say capitalism is what made this country, it's a lie. It's a lie. Socialism and free enterprise are the two economic systems that run in this country that produces something. Okay? Those are the two parts of that produces something. All capitalism is a marketing parasite that makes most of the money off of created products from the free enterprise system and from the socialist system. Now, here's a kicker that nobody wants to tell you. They like to say, well, look, these capitalists go ahead and they invest a lot of money, and for that investment, they need a return because otherwise they won't keep investing. Really? Come on now. Let me tell you the dirty little secret. Let's say the capitalist buys something from the free enterprise or the socialist, right? He buys something. And let's say that goes down the drain and they lose $10 billion. They would have you believe that, well, they took a risk and they lose $10 billion. The thing that you have to learn is that they never lose money. Because you see that $10 billion that they lost? That $10 billion that they lost, they get it back because all the profitable products that they have, before they pay taxes on the profits from those products, they write off their losses from any failed product. So while you as an individual can't do those mechanisms, the corporations effectively lived long enough will never, ever lose a penny because we will always subsidize them by them not having to pay taxes until they have recovered their losses. Okay? Think about it. That is how it actually works. Now, Lee Grant says, you didn't have capitalism to tax. How would you fund socialism? Again, you must not be listening to my discourse. The core of our inventions come from the free enterprise system. We are the ones who pay the taxes. If you go to your pizza shop, free enterprise. If you go to your grocery store, free enterprise. If you go to your dealership, free enterprise. All these people, they actually pay taxes. But the mega capitalists are the ones who, because of the way capitalist tax, etc., that do not pay their fair share. Now, when we talk about an opportunity economy, what we're talking about is making sure, I'm not saying we can't have capitalists. If we can allow a system that is comprised of parasites, right? As long as those parasites are paying their fair share. And why do I call them parasites? A parasite is something that depends on living on you and providing no necessary service, right? We could actually have that free enterprise person. Let me give an example for you here, Brother Grant. Let me give a good example, actually. I can't use my product because I never turned into a corporation or sold my product that way. I never did that. But Bill Gates did. Bill Gates didn't create MS-DOS, okay? At all. Another company in Seattle created MS-DOS. What Bill Gates knew is that IBM was coming out with a personal computer and needed an operating system for that personal computer. So what did Bill Gates do? Bill Gates did two very capitalist things. He went to after knowing, having inside information that he knew what IBM was going to need, he went to this company that he knows sold a CPM type operating system, that software that runs the system. And he goes to them and he says, hey, I want to buy that from you and I'll give you $50,000. And man, here you are tinkering in your garage and somebody say, hey, give me $50,000 for that stuff. You're going to say, hey, okay, I'll take it. Shoot, I wasn't making a penny. So I take the $50,000, but you don't know what he wants to do with that $50,000. So what happens is Bill Gates go to IBM now and said, IBM, guess what? I got an operating system that will work on the 8088 that you have out there. IBM says, oh, really? Yeah, I do. Okay. We want to buy it. He said, no, I'm not buying it, though. I'm licensing it. And IBM says, okay, hell, that is even cheaper for us. We don't have to have an initial investment, and we only pay when we sell a computer. Good for us. Good for you. Well, this big IBM corporation didn't have a clue that PCs were going to take off the way they did. So, by the luck of the draw, they accepted the Bill Gates stuff, and they said, okay. And Bill Gates licensed MS-DOS to IBM. And for every computer IBM sold, Bill Gates got a piece of the action. And that's what made him superbly rich. It's not like he had great innovative skills. The innovation occurred in that little company in Seattle, but the wealth went to the capitalist. Now, in a perfect world, when that wealth started to come back from that piece of product, somehow we would have been able to trace that product came from that little Seattle company. But further, that little Seattle company also got its knowledge from a lot of other little companies we used to have a group in Houston called HAL PC. It was a Houston Area League of PC something. And we used to exchange software. If I created a kind of a software that was a good trick, like, hey, I figured how to do arithmetic quicker with the CPU, doing assembly language by doing a rotate and an add and a bit exchange, and that's faster than using the chips plus function. Oh, really? Oh, yeah, I did that. Oh, can you send me that code? And in those days, it was CompuServe. Yeah, here it is on CompuServe. That's how I did it. Oh, man, I like that. I'm going to put that in my software. You have a lot of that was going on. All of that was going on to create MS-DOS. But there's one person that made all the money. And that was because he did the capitalist thing and just said, I am going to make the deal with IBM. And all the people who were involved in that innovation got stiffed. Amazon, the same thing. Amazon, I buy from Amazon. Hell, Amazon sell all my books, right? And for every single one of my books that Amazon sells, they get a piece of the action, right? Bezos get a piece of the action. That's capitalism, right? But he get an inordinate piece of the action. That's why he's the second richest man in the world now. So my thing is, there are three economies. The capitalist portion, that's parasitic, and we should actually tax them as being parasitic because they generally produce nothing. Their production comes from the accumulation of all the things the socialists and the free enterprisers have done. And then they have capitalized on the work, the intellect, and worth of others. And until you understand that, when people come and say, you are a socialist, you're not you should say, I'm a free enterpriser. I'm a socialist. And you know what? I'll kind of help you capitalists a bit, because you capitalists cannot exist without stealing from us. And that is the reality of the three economic systems we have. Anybody wants to make a mention or talk about it, give me a call, 281-823-7747, 281-823-7747, or throw something in the chat. I haven't seen what else at the top of the chat, but I'll be more than happy to talk about that. But we have to start getting smart. Capitalism isn't what it is sold to be. They tell you what they want you to believe to make you believe that it is there to provide value. It is our free enterprisers and our social structure that creates the ability for capitalism to have absolutely anything. Okay? And E2247 says capitalism rests on Carl Polanyi's three pillars of capitalism: commodified labor, commodified land, and money. Hey, yeah. And notice it has nothing about innovation in there, right? Because all the other parts of it are stolen, right? We go ahead and we are either stolen or coerced. And that is what makes it work. That is the course. And capitalism doesn't pay for free stuff. That's not true at all. But again, I know you believe that, but it's not true at all. Anyway, anybody wants to talk about that, give me a call, 281-823-7747. Or if you want to put something in the chat, that's fine. Let me go ahead and pull up the chat and see if there's anything that I need to. I'm just going to pull up the next 30 or so up top and see if there's anything that I need to scroll down on. Nothing false about money in the pocket. I don't know what that is saying. Patrick says, Eric, the model of taxation the progressives are proposing has a successful pass, and those that would be asked to pay. Look, what you find, I'm going to make a bad phrase here, but I want to say it because it makes sense. What I find ironic is the people who are always defending capitalism and the rich are the same people that the rich and capitalism look down on. You know, people like me or Patrick or Rudnin or whatever, they fear us because they fear that if we start to get enough traction, that people start listening to us and doing the analyses on their own, that eventually they're going to realize that they've been had for all these years. Why do we work so hard so that somebody can live in a penthouse on my labor? Why is it I can build a skyscraper that I would never be able to go into and have a drink? There are a lot of these questions that people would start asking. There are a lot of these questions people would start asking. Texas recently reported having nearly 97,000 applications of process for supplemental nutrition assistance program, and said at the median time it was 33 days. If you are someone you know is stuck in a backlog, we want to hear from you. Thank you for putting that out there, Brother Paul Fleming. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right, folks, anybody want to give me a call? 281-823-7747 to talk about the subject. I don't have the time to play the Obama video. I'll cut it up into 8-minute segments, a few 8-minute segments over the weekend after I do my taxes, which are due on the 15th. So anybody wants to call before we're coming? We're about 11 minutes out. 281-823-7747. Let's see what else we have in the chat. Para ver. Let's see if we have any Israel stuff that we need to call, any new numbers that I need to call out from E2247. I guess E2247 didn't have his numbers out today, so I won't play. I guess he doesn't have his number out today. All right, Patrick says, if you invest in stocks, oftentimes you're in. Peggy Lopez. Hello, Peggy. Let me go ahead and take you off of the main speaker so that we don't get a return. There we go. How are you doing, Peggy?
Okay. Hi, how are you doing?
I am doing fine. Talk to me.
I just showed up and I'm just home and I haven't seen any of the show. And I wanted to call and tell you that I haven't been able to be here while you're on. My little dog has been dying. The reason I called you at 4 o'clock at my time the other day is because I had sat up all night with her. to try to help her through the night until I could get the vet to the house to help her move on her way. And I needed something positive to think about. And so I started thinking, I ran into there's an old Malvina Reynolds song about it isn't nice to block the doorway, it isn't nice to go to jail. And that song popped into my head, and I realized that all my musing about the patriarch and what in terms of what's going on today was leading me to the idea that it's coming to an end. It's dying under its own weight. And that's happened independent of anybody fighting with the patriarch for decades. And I'm really glad to hear there's a lot of discussion, because I in the middle of the night now, I'm finding you on the YouTube and catching up with what you've been talking about. So I'm aware that there's discussion, and I'm glad to hear it.
I thank you very much, Peggy. I hope you listened to yesterday. We had a good segment from Patrick Ragnar and Bridge MCP, who was talking about why we're in this condition that we're in with the patriarchy, etc., which was a really, really great piece. I hope you listened to that one.
I saw that yesterday, and I realized that somewhere along the line, I remember when I learned about how capitalism moved around the planet as people began to do trades with their neighboring people, and then they got in the boats and they went across the water and found more people and did more trading, and it just sent capitalism, which is a basic tenet of the patriarchy, around the planet, so that the patriarchs could all get richer and have more and all of that kind of insanity. And it was really nice to hear that yesterday. I think I listened to it about midnight last night.
Oh, wow. I'm touched. Big. Well, one of the things that I'm glad about is that people are, in fact, I've been looking at our podcast, and people are really starting to absorb that. Again, most people absorb it the way you just did. They actually do it on podcasts. And it's so important for them to see that a lot of folks, they've been indoctrinated into capitalism is the way to go, the only way to go, not realizing that the way it's implemented, it's really a form of slavery. It's a form of taking away your worth. You're the one doing the work while somebody sits in an office and gets paid. So, I am so glad it's reaching out there and it's starting. So anyway, how are you doing otherwise? Let me ask you a most important question. What color is your hair?
Okay. Right now it's gray.
Okay, because the last time I saw it was pink.
Yeah, it was when I was doing my pink petals balloons. It was pink, and since I've got this catheter now, it kind of freaks the kids out a little bit. So I haven't been doing it because I don't want to freak them out. But I'm about to go into a wheelchair, and when that happens, there's a way to hide the bag that's attached to me, and then I'll be able to go back out and start doing my balloons again. So I'll be a pink-haired old lady on a wheelchair.
Oh, so in other words, with the wheelchair, you're going to be getting mobile again, is what you're telling me.
Yes.
Well, great. I am so glad to hear that, Peggy. I am so glad to hear that. And look, you stay sweet, my dear, beautiful lady. And when you get the other color, don't forget you got to send me that picture now.
Okay, I will.
All right, have a good one,
Good
Peggy.
to talk to you.
All right, bye-bye.
You too, bye.
All right. Anyway, folks, anybody else want to give us a call? 281-823-7747 is the number. 281-823-7747. Great hearing from Peggy Lopez. Let's see what else we got here. Para ver. You didn't have I read that one already. Socialism is in response to capitalism. Lee, they're intended to check each other. Yeah, but I am going to have to think that one through a little bit, Patrick. Don't you think we were social before we got Smith, right? I think I got to reread a few things. I have to reread a few things, but I could be wrong. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right, let's see. All right, I don't have a name attached to this one. Who am I? Who do I have the honor of speaking with?
Hi, my name is Anissa.
Anissa, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, talk to me, my dear friend.
Well, your live stream popped up on my YouTube feed. I've actually never seen your content before, but I was just like, I want to talk to him. I do, because I really enjoy listening to people, discuss capitalism and how it's just not the best system at all for people at the bottom in any way, shape, or form. And it's very frustrating because you work for these really big companies and you feel like you don't have any agency. Some companies will give you PTO, they'll give you good benefits, and so you can go to your doctor and things like that. But then it's like, like the work from home thing. Everyone wants you to go back into the office and stuff. And the reasoning behind it is just, we want to help work-life culture, when people have outwardly expressed that it's not what they want, but then we don't have a choice. And it's just, it's very frustrating. And so I was like,
your name was Anissa, right? Let me tell you what you can. I love that you said that, Anissa. I love that you said that. Let me tell you. We have to walk one step at a time. We have to start by making sure that we elect people, not only on the federal level, but on the local level, that share our values. The first thing we have to make sure and do, however, is educate all of us, because we have to have power. You have to have the people that are educated on the way things actually work. It's obvious that you are already educated. We have a whole lot of people in our chat that still believe the fallacy of capitalism. What I try to express to them that it's nothing more than what I call antiseptic slavery. If you look at, if later on you follow some of the things that we do, you can see I have this stuff that I tell the audience all of the time. So I say, let me tell you, when I was a slave, right? At least, the master had to clothe you. They had to feed you. They had to make sure you weren't too sick because you were just a means of production for them. So they took care of their machines better than they took care of humans. But now they have something called employees. And what does employees do? I tell you to come to work. If you don't come to work, I'll let you go and somebody else takes your place. If I feel like it, I may give you insurance to take care of you. But if you get sick, I don't really have to care because there's somebody else waiting that doesn't call. I don't have to buy you anymore. I just have to say, hey, I have a job and you come work for me. In the past, they had to buy me, right? If I was a slave, they had to buy me and I come and work. So I call it now antiseptic slavery. I believe in the collective. In corporations, we should have something called a collective. You see how you said you want to work at home. If all the people in the office say, we can actually do this at home, that's what should be done, right? Because we all serve to make the profit of that company. But as this is right now, you work, you do what they tell you to do. They take your excess labor into the profits of the company's executives and shareholders, and you are just what I call the antiseptic slave. So, Anissa, what we got to do is we got to do things like this, keep people educated, continue to educate them. And as we do that, it'll change. It's going to be a slow process. You sound like a young person. It's going to be slow. It's going to be slow, but we got to stay with it.
And painful.
yes, and pain, but we got to stay with it.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I think one thing that's very interesting is that a lot of capitalists and people with that mindset are never open to just like seeing what a different type of economy and society could look like. I feel like America has pretty much always kind of been a capitalist society. We don't even know how we would do in a different way. If we're like the greatest country on earth, why can't we try? Like, I don't understand.
There's a reason why. We can't let people know how good things could be. We have limitless resources, but we can't let folks know that, because we would start wanting that. But look, the show is over at 4, Anissa. I want to first of all thank you for calling in. I want to thank you for listening, and I hope that you'll come here. We do the show. We have 2 shows every day. The first one is 6 a.m. in Houston, Texas, on air and online. We are at KPFT 90.1 FM Houston, but also we do this show every day at 3 Central, 4 Eastern. Where are you located anyway?
I'm on the East Coast, so it's 5 o'clock where I am.
Right. So we start at 4 o'clock Eastern. So I hope you decide to add this to your repertoire. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You have a wonderful day, Anissa. Thank you very much for calling. Anyway, folks, that was a new caller. Anissa, I'd love to have her here. Let's go ahead. By the way, folks, we are at the end of the show. So what I want to ask you is to please support the program. How can you support the program? You know, I'm going to be real quick because we're at 4 o'clock. So I got to be real quick with it right now. You can go to politicsdoneright.com/support. That is one of the many ways to support the program, politicsdoneright.com/support. But what I'm asking those of you who call in those of you who have the wherewithal to please go ahead and consider becoming a paid subscriber of our newsletter. It's less than a coffee. And that way we can continue doing what we're doing. And those of you who become paid subscribers of our newsletter get access to read all of my books, and I'm going to put them on air right now. What are the books again? How to Make America Utopia. It's worth it. How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relative Friends and Neighbors. Also, Lose Weight and Be Fit. Hey, I had to use my book again for the last few weeks. Also, Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man. Also, we've got, of course, it's, as I see it, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. And How to Make America Utopia, Take the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. So you can go to politicsdoneright.com/books to get those books. But if you become a paid subscriber of Politics Done Right by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, guess what? All those books are there for you to read. And also you support what we're doing. Hey, thank you, Patrick. We only do the Zoom the first Saturday of every month. So anyway, so we'll do that in, what are we in October? We'll do that in November, right before the election. Anyway, look, folks, thank you so kindly for being here. I love you all. We are going to change the world. What we do here, what others that are doing similar work are doing, we're going to change the world. But we got to support those of us that are doing this job. So I ask kindly again, remember, be a paid subscriber to our newsletter. I promise you good stuff. Plus, you get to read all my books. Hey, it's a good value. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out!
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.